Jordan Peterson is warning of an imminent social credit system coming out of our COVID insanity. We're going to take a look at his warning. We're going to see the role the World Economic Forum has in implementing such a system. And make sure to stick with me to the very end of this video when I'll show you precisely how we're going to stop it all in its tracks. You're not going to want to miss this.
Do you think what we did during COVID could usher in our version of a social credit system?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, that's highly probable.
And that it will be accepted by many people because, again, that
they won't even
yearning
notice.
For safety.
They won't notice even. Yeah. You can't believe how much people don't know these things. When I went to the UK, I talked to some people from the House of Lords. This is within the last 6 months. The most astute of the people sitting in the House of Lords had only become aware of the woke movement in the last 18 months. Oh yes, you just can't believe how much this is not on people's radar. Not someone like you can't believe that at all because it's on your radar all the time. That's not, you live in a world that's on the cutting edge of this sort of thing. It's like people have no idea. It's like, well, why not have a digital passport? I mean, you know, how convenient. It's like, fair enough, and you can understand that. Wouldn't it be nice if we could pay for everything with our phones? It's like, wouldn't it be nice if the central government, who's woke-oriented and makes carbon dioxide remediation the priority, knows exactly what you spend on everything so they can target you tax-wise with precision. It's like, oh, didn't think about that. It's like, yeah, you sure didn't. And oh yes, it's highly probable. It'll be a miracle if we escape from that. You can see these signs of this everywhere. You know, when you go through airports now, there's a lot of automated barriers. You show your passport. It's like, well, these are automated barriers. What if you can't go through them? Well, that's the situation for many people in China. It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to argue with the machine? Like, you just cannot imagine how screwed you are. It's way worse than anything Kafka ever imagined, because at least with Kafka, there was bureaucrats. Faceless though they may have been, they were at least still human. Once the machines can lock you out, you are in such trouble. And we're speeding towards that with an immense lack of care.
All right, so that's a pretty ominous warning that Peterson is sketching out for us there. And I'm sure many of you have heard of the social credit system that was originally implemented by China. It started back in 2014 with a full nationwide rollout in 2020. It's been described by the South China Morning Post as China's most ambitious project in social engineering since the Cultural Revolution. According to one anthropological study, the aim is for the national system, once fully functional, to allocate a social credit score to members of the public based on their social, economic, or other activities and deeds. With the so-called red list and blacklist, the aim is to effectively regulate both the behavior of private citizens as well as that of businesses. The social credit system leverages big data that monitors the geolocation, purchasing history, social media content usage, and footage from CCTVs that are equipped with facial recognition technology. It's pretty ominous stuff. According to Foreign Policy, it's the closest thing we've ever seen to the actualization of an Orwellian system controlling virtually every aspect of human life. And to get a better sense of what all of this entails, here's a recent news report on China's social credit system.
Leo Hu recently tried to book a flight. He was told he was banned from flying because he's on the list of untrustworthy people. Leo is a journalist who was ordered by a court to apologize for a series of tweets he wrote and was then told his apology was insincere. I can't buy property. My child can't go to private school, he says. You feel you're being controlled by the list all the time. And the list is now getting longer, as every Chinese citizen is being assigned a social credit score, a fluctuating rating based on a range of behaviors. It's believed that community service and buying Chinese-made products can raise your score. Fraud, tax evasion, and smoking in non-smoking areas can drop it. China's growing network of surveillance cameras makes all of this possible.
It can recognize more than 4,000 vehicles.
Xu Li is the CEO of SenseTime, one of China's most successful artificial intelligence companies. It has created smart cameras for the government that can help catch criminals, but also track average citizens.
You can tell whether it is an adult, a child, a male or female.
Ken DeWaskin has studied China's economic and political culture for more than 3 decades. He says how the new scoring system truly works is kept secret and could be easily abused by the government.
How far into people's daily mundane activities does this go?
Well, I think that the government and the people running the plan would like to go as deeply as possible to determine how to allocate benefits and also how to impact and shape their behavior.
The fear, of course, is that the government may use this social credit scoring system to punish people that it deems not sufficiently loyal to the Communist Party. And trying to clear your name or fight your score is nearly impossible because there is no due process. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Beijing.
Now, obviously, that's some pretty scary stuff, but the really scary part is that this is not simply a system that exists in a specific country. The scary part, as Jordan Peterson is warning, is that it's got a whole lot of fans all over the world. Here's the infamous Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum.
So we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period. I respect China's achievements, which are tremendous over the last over 40 years. I think it's a role model for many countries, but I think also we should leave it to each country to make its own decision what system it wants to adopt. And I think we should be very careful in imposing systems. But the Chinese model is certainly a very attractive model for quite a number of countries.
Now, this is basically what the WEF is. As I've talked about in other videos, the Davos managerial worldview pits the obligation to solve the problems of the world not on governments or corporations or big businesses, but rather the full brunt to change the world will be borne by you. And this is key. You will bear that as a consumer. And that's where Davos comes in. At any Davos gathering, over and over again, you're going to hear speakers talk about creating business conditions that, in effect, control the choices of consumers in order to, quote, make this a better world. Take, for example, this person claiming that businesses are going to have to, in her words, recalibrate the notion of free speech online.
We are finding ourselves in a place where we have increasing polarization everywhere, and everything feels binary when it doesn't need to be. So I think we're going to have to think about a recalibration of a whole range of human rights that are playing out online, you know, from freedom of speech to the freedom to, you know, to be free from online violence, or the right of data protection to the right to child dignity.
Everything feels polarized and binary when it doesn't have to be. So we at Davos are going to have to recalibrate a whole range of human rights. This is what the WEF is all about. They're not about finding solutions to problems in their own sphere of influence. They're not about blaming governments or corporations for all the problems in the world. No. They're all about shifting responsibility for all of that over to you. You're the problem. But the irony in all this is that you're not the problem. You are actually the solution. I'm going to show you exactly how. But first, click on that link below and head on over to my special website for the Ready Project food supply. You know we should never wait for an emergency to happen, only to regret that we didn't prepare, and no one makes preparing for an emergency more ridiculously easy and affordable than our good friends over at the Ready Project Food Supply. Gang, their food kits last up to 25 years in storage. They include breakfast, lunches, and dinners, and every meal is at least 2,000 calories. And if you act right now, you're going to save 25% off a full 4-week emergency food supply when you click on the link below to my special website. So whatever you do, don't wait. Click on that link below and start building your emergency food supply today. There is a massive worldwide resistance against this technocratic tyranny that's forging what scholars call an international parallel economy. A parallel economy is an economy totally free from wokeness. It's built around the core values of faith, family, and freedom. Scholars have noted that patriot entrepreneurs all over the world are currently investing in and financing numerous projects that seek to provide alternatives to the woke corporations that are acting in tandem with woke governments to implement something akin to the Chinese social credit system. And those scholars are calling the builders of this world frontier innovators. The frontier is simply the innovation centers and entrepreneurial activity located outside of Silicon Valley and its counterparts like LA and New York and London and Brussels and the like. So this is an alternative economy that's rising up. It includes companies in Kenya as well as Kansas, Uganda as well as Utah, India as well as Indiana. And so we're seeing the rising up of nothing less than a parallel patriot society at all levels. We're, of course, seeing the rise of parallel news media like what we're doing here, parallel social media like the new patriot-based Twitter, parallel currencies like crypto, parallel schools like homeschooling and the classical Christian school movement, parallel colleges, conservative colleges and universities. We got parallel payment processing systems developing, parallel medical insurance like healthcare cost-sharing organizations that the Amish have been using for decades, parallel job finder sites like Red Balloon made up completely of anti-woke companies. We could go on and on. We've even got parallel satellites that Elon Musk has been putting up out there. He's even talking about creating an entire parallel phone and telecommunicative system. And here's the best part. It's all totally decentralized. Because it's part of what's called the network society, there's no centralized nucleus to take out. And there are constantly new and innovative ways of getting around any barriers that governments may try to put up against it. So as it turns out, you are not the problem. You are the solution. We together are going to make sure that a social credit system never comes anywhere near us. And in so doing, we'll make sure to defend and secure the blessings of faith, family, and freedom for generations to come. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button, and you will definitely want to check out my latest video on Jordan Peterson leaving Piers Morgan absolutely speechless on Donald Trump. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.